Hello Internet, welcome back to week number 4, I think we're on now. You can see everything looks a little weird this week. Everything's surrounded in red boxes, and there's lots of lines all over the place. What you're seeing is um, basically a debugging tool that I've added on to help me determine how the pathfinding is working in my game. I've made some major changes to how each of the units on the screen find their way to and from where they're going. Trying to get rid of that problem where they would kind of wander off and get lost in certain locations. Essentially what you're seeing here is I've created a giant grid for the entire playing field, and highlighted in red are the squares which are blocked by an object being in them. And then you can see the lines each of the objects are drawing the path that they are currently taking, which should always bend around those objects. And then there's another piece of code running all the time that continually updates which squares should be blocked off at any point in time. But that's kind of a work in progress, and that kind of will continue to develop as I progress. Over here we have my first bit of combat. You can see I have some archers kind of defending the base over here, and I have a set of continually spawning bad guys over here, complete with health bars that you can see as they get hit, reduces their health until it gets to 0, in which case they disappear. My archers I have just set with displaying their current amount of HP. And I've set up their code here. You can see they generate arrow objects which then fly in the direction of the bad guys when they get within a certain range. The arrow objects are set to basically, when they are generated, they are aimed at the bad guy with a certain degree of error built in. So it randomly generates a number plus or minus for both the x-axis and the y-axis, and then from the middle of the bad guy that goes either plus or minus on both the x or y axis from that point, and the arrow just flies right to that. So essentially the archers have a chance to miss either on the top side or the low side, and you can see that here as the arrows will fly past or sometimes fly and actually strike home. The bad guys themselves have code where they will try, you can see their path going directly towards the base here, but if they get close enough to an enemy archer, they will go to attack that archer and then continue progressing towards the base. This is all in its first stages as well, but additionally, as I talked about last week, how I wanted to kind of add in some sandboxy type elements, I've added a button up here, kind of like a GUI button that sort of follows me around. It kind of jumps around right now for some reason. I got to look into what's causing that. But this allows me, whenever I click on it, to place down a barrier. So right now you see there's just an example of some wooden spokes that kind of follow my mouse around, and I have it set to lock into grid positions. So as you can see, when I move the mouse, it jumps and locks itself into very specific places, and this will allow the player to not screw up the environment too much. Essentially, we don't want it to look too weird. If they were to place like 3 of these in basically the same spot, it wouldn't really make much sense. So I've elected to utilize locking them into a grid, and I'm going to click the mouse button. And as you can see, it then places the object and then walls it off as a solid, which will cause the pathing of these guys to then walk around it. So like I can create a wall right here that these guys would have to walk around anytime they're trying to get towards the base. which would cause them to come, into the line of fire or whatnot. So you can see they're having to go all the way around here now. And I could even let's see if we can bring these guys down here to make them have to contend with these archers on the bottom here. Yeah, see here. Now they've chosen this bottom path, and these archers are probably going to die pretty quick here. But you can also see that the arrows disappear if they come into a contact with a tree. They won't continue to fly. So you can these guys could essentially use these as cover or something of the like. But so quite a bunch of minor changes this week. It's really starting to kind of come together and look like some semblance of a game. Oh yeah, I also didn't mention that you can see my wood up here is at 100, 200. Whenever I place one of these guys down, it drops by 50. So you can actually utilize those resources that my workers are, busy mining away for. But yeah, that's week 4 for you. Stay tuned, and hopefully I'll have a lot more in week 5.